I'm taking my sister to the hospital, so can you lend me some money?
My 8-year-old grandson walked for an hour in heavy snow to reach our house. He carried his 2-year-old sister, who had a fever on his back. Both of them looked quite exhausted. I wonder what my son and daughter-in-law are doing. When I tried to take my shivering grandchildren into the house, my husband shouted at me.
There's no way I'm lending you money.
I tried to scold him. You don't have to say such a terrible thing, when I saw my grandchildren frightened by my husband. But my husband ignored me and did something even more surprising. My name is Ella, a 60-year-old housewife. I lived peacefully with my 65-year-old husband, Levi. We have a son named Henry who got married and moved out 10 years ago. Henry has 2 children, an 8-year-old son named Owen and a 2-year-old daughter named Lila. They are precious to us. My husband and I were looking forward to their visits. However, Henry's behavior has been strange for the past 3 months. He was always a bit careless, even when he was living with us. He would pile up laundry and leave it unattended. To make matters worse, his wife is not good at housework either. When I visited their house right after they got married, there were clothes scattered all over the place, and there was no place to step on. It was always messy. I wonder if these two will be able to manage when they have children. However, 10 years have passed since then, and when Henry and his wife came to visit, both grandchildren were very healthy. Owen was especially mature for his age, so I was relieved. Just then, Henry arrived with the grandchildren.
Owen is always a good boy who helps with housework. He doesn't cause any trouble, so it's a relief.
Oh, really? That's good. It's a relief that he doesn't take after his father.
Haha, what do you mean?
I smiled at Henry, who was pretending to be a little silly. But even though Owen was quite mature, he was still only 8 years old. I was worried that he might be burdened with housework because his parents couldn't do it.
Grandma, can I have some pocket money?
Sure. I have to give a reward to a good boy who always helps his father and mother. I took out $10 from my wallet, but Henry quickly took it from me. Hey, Henry. What are you doing?
Oh, come on! He's your first grandchild. You should be more generous than that. $10 is not enough at all.
Henry took $100 from my wallet without permission. And he did this several times, so my husband Levi finally got angry and scolded Henry. But this was not good. My husband is a scary and stubborn person. Even though my grandchildren were already afraid of him, he shouted at Henry with a devilish expression, which made them scared and not want to come to our house anymore. In the end, it's been 3 months since I last saw my grandchildren. Since then, only Henry has come to see us occasionally, but he always asks for pocket money for his children. Hey, can't you let me see my grandchildren?
If you want to see them that badly, why don't you use a video call on the internet? But I remember that you are not good at that kind of thing.
Henry said with a sneer. However, what he said was true. My husband and I couldn't even use the internet.
More importantly, it's money. Money! Where's your wallet?
Henry was worried only about the pocket money for his children and was rummaging around for it. I sighed in exasperation. The wallet is in the safe. We've taken measures so that you can't take money from it without permission.
What? What's that? Well, forget it then.
Henry said, and he left quickly. I realized that he had been coming for money all along, and I felt a little complicated. Even so, he wears expensive watches and gold necklaces and dresses so well, but I wonder if he's living within his means. Since he got married, Henry has become strangely wasteful and has become flashy. He works for a company that deals with children's products, and I heard that he gets a pretty good salary, but it doesn't seem to match his expenses. I was thinking about such things when Henry stopped coming to our house. 3 months later, on a snowy night, someone rang the doorbell. Hello. Oh? Owen? What's wrong? Standing in front of the entrance was my grandson, carrying his sister on his back.
Lila has a fever. I'm taking her to the hospital. Can you lend me some money?
Both of them looked thin and poor, and they seemed to be in bad shape. I was shocked to see Owen carrying his sister all the way here in this heavy snow. Why is this happening? What are Henry and his wife doing? I was worried and confused, but I tried to take my shivering and pale grandchildren into the house. However, my husband Levi shouted at them.
There's no way I'm lending you money.
Owen trembled at Levi's harsh words, and he was frightened.
You can't say that now, can you?
I was about to scold Levi for saying such a terrible thing when he suddenly ran to the grandchildren and hugged them tightly. Both Owen and I were surprised and speechless.
That's not it. If you want, I'll do everything for you. I want you to rely on us for everything.
You're not angry, are you?
I'm so angry with those stupid sons of mine, but I can't abandon my grandchildren who are in such bad shape.
Levi was crying while hugging his grandchildren, who looked painful. He was stubborn and often misunderstood, but he loved his grandchildren from the bottom of his heart. Soon after that, Levi, Owen, and I took Lila to the hospital. The doctor examined her and said that her symptoms were not life-threatening. Her fever went down quickly, and she was able to return home on the same day. When we got home, Owen, who was looking at his sleeping sister with a relieved expression, told us what had happened. My husband and I were horrified by what we heard.
Dad and Mom leave me in charge of the house and Lila and go somewhere right away. I do everything from washing dishes to cleaning the bath and toilet.
What? Do you know where your parents are going?
No. But Mom comes back with a lot of expensive bags. And Dad comes back with a delicious smell.
From my grandson's story, it was speculated that his wife was buying brand-name bags. In addition, it can be seen that the couple is eating out alone. They probably don't even feed their own children properly.
Is that why you're so thin?
Levi gently stroked Owen's arm.
Dad said we're the money tree.
My husband and I were shaken by Owen's unexpected words.
They're filming us skinny and putting it on the internet.
What? Is that true?
Yeah. And people who felt sorry for us put money in crowdfunding, I think.
Hey, what's that?
Crowdfunding is a way to collect money from an unspecified number of people over the internet. In other words, my son and daughter-in-law spent 3 months making their children look skinny and poor, and they were taking advantage of people who felt sorry for them. When I think about it, it makes sense that Henry didn't introduce us to our grandchildren for the past 3 months. My husband and I were trembling with anger and shock.
What are those two thinking?
Hey, call Henry. Call him right now.
I called my son from my smartphone, but I couldn't get in touch with him. That's strange. Is he not at home? Do you know where your parents are?
I don't remember. They said they were going to Hawaii and told me to do the housework properly.
What did you say? Henry and his wife left their children at home and went on a trip abroad. However, my grandchildren say they weren't told any more details.
Maybe we'll find out something if we go to their house.
Levi drove me and my 2 grandchildren to my son's house and used the key Owen gave us to enter the house. The room was still messy, and there was no place to step on. We searched for a place to walk and moved forward, pushing aside things that had fallen. Then,
Hey! This was next to the phone.
my husband shouted out loud. The paper he was holding had a date, time, alphabet, and something like a number written on it. Is this? When I checked the string of characters on my smartphone, it was the airline and flight number, as expected. That means the date and time are the time they went to Hawaii and the time they returned to America, respectively. From there, we found out that they would return tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. We were burning with anger and decided to prepare to avenge our grandchildren until then. First, we decided to stay at our son's house. After cooking delicious food for our grandchildren and feeding them, Owen cried and said,
It's delicious. It's delicious.
He ate as if he were biting into it, and Lila moved her mouth and chewed. We were about to cry when we saw them. After bathing our grandchildren and putting them to bed, I contacted someone on my smartphone.
Henry and his wife. I'll never forgive them. Just wait and see.
Then, the next day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the 4 of us came to the airport. In the lobby, people waiting to return home were happily reunited with those who came out of the exit. Among them, Levi and I frowned and waited silently. Soon, my son and daughter-in-law came out of the gate with a wreath made of flowers around their necks, looking like they had just returned from Hawaii. Welcome back. It looks like you had a fun trip.
What? Why are you guys here?
As soon as he saw us, Henry and his wife tried to escape. Levi grabbed their shoulders and didn't let go.
Can you tell us what's going on?
Hey, stop it. Let go.
Beside the raging son, his wife also
Security guard, please help me.
made a big fuss. We originally wanted to talk in a different place, but we had no choice but to confront them on the spot.
Henry, I heard the story from Owen. You seem to have put your grandchildren through a lot of trouble.
Ha! Owen, you snitched to this old lady?
Shut up!
Owen, who flinched at the sight of his father trying to grab him, was not allowed to do so by Levi. He grabbed Henry by the scruff of his neck and pulled him back forcibly, causing Henry to
Ow!
let out a choked voice. The wife, crying,
Please stop.
shouted, and the bystanders began to gather around. So I took a deep breath and let out a loud voice that echoed throughout the area.
Making the kids do all the housework and going on a trip to Hawaii. What a good life you have. Why didn't you take them with you?
That's because.
He stammered, his face covered with sweat, and looked around nervously.
If you can't answer, I'll tell you. What's this? Please lend a hand of love to the children who are struggling to eat. Please donate from this site.
Mom, stop it.
This is the internet page you made to collect donations, right?
I shoved the screen of my smartphone in front of Henry's eyes. It was a crowdfunding site created by the son and his wife. There was a large photo of Owen, who was skinny and ragged, and his sister Lila, who was carried on his back. To top it off, there was even a video of Owen being forced to say,
"I'm hungry. Please donate."
Henry was shocked and astonished.
How? Mom, you're not supposed to be doing any internet stuff, right?
That's true, but I can at least ask a friend who knows about that kind of thing.
Damn it! Is that what it is?
This page has been spread a lot, and my friends knew about it too.
Yes, the person I was contacting last night after putting the kids to bed was a female friend of the same age who is proficient in using the internet. When I found out that my grandchildren were being used for crowdfunding, her face popped into my mind. I sent a photo of Owen to my friend to confirm, and as I expected,
I recognize this child. And I even donated to him.
that was the reply I got.
You didn't want to let go of the kids because they were making money for you. But you knew it would be bad for you if you took them on a trip and your lives were exposed. So you went to Hawaii by yourselves, right?
Tut. Yeah, that's right.
Henry frowned and looked down, silent for a while. But then, he suddenly started shaking his shoulders and chuckling.
But you know, Mom, you may not know this, but the thing about the internet is that I can erase all the pages, photos, and videos on a site like this with the push of a delete button.
How rotten can you be?
I'll clean it up later. Sorry for you.
Levi was furious, but Henry's wife,
I don't think violence is good.
and she made a big fuss again. I felt pathetic and almost sighed.
Listen, Henry. If you had admitted and regretted what you did, I might have been more lenient with you.
Ha, what are you going to do, old lady?
You think I haven't thought of any countermeasures. But my friend has already taken pictures of the site's pages and saved all the images and videos for me.
Henry looked stunned, then,
Ha! What?
his face turned pale in an instant. When Levi let go of him, he collapsed to the floor on his knees. He couldn't stand up, and crawled on the floor, clinging to my feet.
Wait, Mom! Let's talk calmly.
I'm very calm.
What are you going to do with those saved images and videos? No, don't tell me. Please, just spare me that. You know what kind of position I'm in, right?
I told you to stop it.
His wife yelled at him. But Henry said,
Just apologize. You too.
he grabbed her head and pulled her hair.
Too late. Look around you.
My son and his wife reluctantly looked up and opened their eyes wide. That's because the crowd of onlookers around them were all pointing their smartphones at them. Henry said,
Wow! Stop it! Don't take pictures!
He panicked and covered his face with both hands, but it was too late.
I'm cutting ties with you too, and we'll take Owen and Lila. You don't deserve to be parents.
I took my grandchildren with me and left the airport with a firm attitude. After that, the video taken by the onlooker spread. A friend who was watching my son and his wife's site posted the truth while protecting the children's privacy, and their lies were exposed. They were accused of fraud and got a lot of backlash. It also reached Henry's company, and he was fired on the spot because they dealt with children-related products. His face was clearly shown in the video, so there's nowhere for them to go from now on. On the other hand, we filed a lawsuit to permanently revoke their parental rights. The claim was accepted, and we were able to take and raise our grandchildren. The two of them have become attached to my husband since the incident, and he loves them very much. The sound of lively children fills the house, and I'm very happy now.
How did you like this story? Please also subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.